Good afternoon, dear students. On the path of achievement, where dream takes flight, walk with purpose, embrace the light. Challenges may come, obstacles may appear. Challenges may come, obstacles may appear, but with determination, success is near. But with determination, success is near. Visualize the summit. Keep your goal in sight. Work hard. Strive with all your might. Success is a journey, not just a race. Success is a journey, not just a race. So enjoy each step, savor the grace, right? So it's very clear that success is a journey. It's not race, but with firm determination, right? With continuous efforts, we can achieve the milestone as success, right? So our journey will be successful and we'll be able to achieve the milestone. So for this, for your success, for your success at CA exam series 2 or CA intermediate paper 5, auditing and ethics subject, mentor for the session, I am CA Karuna Bhansali.
And I'm C. Ankita Yadav.
So we will be taking you through the journey for the success. So I hope all of you are ready, right? Just when you take flight, you are ready with your luggage, you are ready with your you are sitting on the chair that you have fastened the seat belt, right? So all do's and don'ts we need to follow. Same way we are approaching for our intermediate examination, right? In September, we are having our examination where we are going to take off for the success. We are going to sit in the flight, that is our examination, and we'll be taking off for the success. So I hope you all are ready for the same. Just like when we have to go for some journey, we tend to prepare the list, what we need to carry with us, right? Which dresses we will be wearing, or which if medications are required, then which medicines we need to carry. तो सारी प्लानिंग जो है वो आपकी कितने दिन पहले स्टार्ट हो जाती है ना कि हमें कहीं जाना है तो हमारे साथ में अगर वहां पे फूड मिलेगा नहीं मिलेगा तो सारा कुछ पूरा एनालाइज करके उसके लिए प्रिपेयर करते हैं और हम अपना बैगेज जो है वो प्रिपेयर करके हम जर्नी के लिए निकलते हैं होता है कि नहीं राइट यस और नॉट है ना तो सेम वे फॉर एनी एग्जामिनेशन ऑल्सो you should be aware that how we will be handling this paper, how we will be taking this journey when we are going for auditing paper, and after this we will be at CA final, right? So all my future chartered accountants, all my dear students, I hope you are ready and you must be having your notepad and pen, and on this date, like 14th August, wherein we are having still 16 days, right? So during these 16 days, or previously also, we must have worked harder that how we will be sitting for the examination, how we are going to achieve the milestone. So for auditing intermediate level, we are having total 11 chapters, right? So for 11 chapters, you must have prepared some strategy. So to discuss the strategy for the success, we are here to take the session wherein we will be discussing some journal tips, which of course we have discussed in series 1, but here we will take the glance of the same for few minutes, and thereafter what we are going to cover.
We are today going to cover the May 25 examination paper and the both MTP series of September 25 examinations.
Right. So we will be taking that. And of course, in between, if you have any doubt, that is most welcome. So you can definitely ask if you have any doubt, or if you have any query while preparing, or if you have set for the mock test paper, as we generally advise कि बेटा पेपर से पहले आपको एक mock test paper solve करना है, and when you have solved that, what kind of issues you have faced, what kind of challenges you might have faced. So, how to overcome these challenges, right? So, that we are going to discuss in today's session. So, if you have any feedback, if you want us to take any specific topic or any specific question, definitely you can write to us. Otherwise, we are going to commence with the general, right, for 5 to 10 minutes. And thereafter, we will be moving towards our previous like examination question papers, like maybe January 25 or May 25, as Ankita ma'am told you. And in addition to that, we are also here planning to cover series 1 and series 2 mock test papers, some of the important questions, right? So, not taking much of the time, as today we are on 14th August, and you might have studied well, right? So, you must be knowing that you are having total 11 chapters, right? And in auditing, generally, result is less. Of course, January 25 examination was much more tricky, right? So, when we are preparing, when we are studying, and those who have not touched or those who are in revision stage but not able to grasp the concept, when they are writing, they are not able to recall कि मैम हमने पढ़ तो लिया, सब कुछ पढ़ लिया, सब समझ भी आ गया, but when we are going to write in the examination, हम क्या इशू फेस कर रहे हैं कि we are not able to recall, हमको क्वेश्चन याद नहीं आ रहा. We are reading the question, but we are not able to understand which standard will be applicable. If the standard we are aware, then we are not able to understand what should be the answer. So if you are finding these kind of issues, for that also we are going to cover we are going to address those issues, and we will be sharing the tips in the session. So not taking much of the time, Ankita madam, would you like to take through the syllabus and skill wise and section wise weightage to the students?
Sure, ma'am. So this is your section-wise weightage of your syllabus. The first chapter covers the weightage of the first chapter is up to 6%, 4% to 6%, which means it covers up to minimum 5 marks and maximum of 7 marks. Your chapter 2 weightage is 9 to 14, that is 8% to 12%. Okay, and the weightage of chapter 3 is 8% to 12%, again the same, from 9 marks to 14 marks.
So till now we have covered our section 1, 2 and 3. So total 11 chapters, right? We are having 11 chapters. And those 11 chapters are further segregated into 9 sections, which ma'am is telling you, right? So if we are, yeah, if we are talking about the section 1 is comprising chapter
Chapter 1.
right? And minimum marks, already Ankita ma'am told you, that is 5 to 7 marks. It means 4 to 6% is the weightage for this section 1.
Section 1.
Yeah. And same way ma'am told you about chapter 2 and chapter 3. So here till now in section 2 we are having our chapter 2, and in section 3 we are having our chapter 3, right? And this is chapter 1. Now if we move forward for section 4, ma'am, which chapters are being covered over here?
Chapter number 4.
What is it?
And chapter number 6.
Yeah. What is covered in chapter 4?
So the weightage is 12% to 18%, which means 14 marks to 21, which is huge.
Yeah. So chapter 4 is basically your audit evidence, right? So almost 500 series is covered over here in this chapter. And chapter 6 means
audit documentation.
SA 230, audit documentation, right? Whatever we are going to study, whatever we are studying, if you are not documenting, without documentation, audit will not be complete, right? If there is no documentation, means no audit. अगर आप पढ़ते हैं, आप अपने notes बनाते हैं, right? आप अपने फ्लो चार्ट्स बनाते हैं अपनी अंडरस्टैंडिंग के लिए, और उससे आप जब लर्न करते हैं, that is nothing else, it is example of your audit documentation only, right? And what is audit evidence? Auditor is required to express opinion, right? But how he can express the opinion? Very important task for the auditor is to express opinion. But opinion express करने के लिए auditor needs to obtain sufficient and appropriate audit evidence. Very important terms. SAAE. Sufficient and appropriate audit evidence. And all these audit evidence are being discussed in your chapter 4, right? So, next section is
Section 5,
which is comprising of
audit of items of financial statements.
And highest weightage, right? So, this is having weightage of how many marks?
12% to 20%, which means 14 to 24.
It means 14 to 24 marks. So, if we see the maximum weightage is for section 5. You can see from this pie chart that maximum weightage is for section 5. And if we compare another section also, you will see 4 to the 8, means section 4 and section 8 weightage is same, 12% to 18%, right? But of course, section 4 is also having 2 chapters and section 8 is also having 2 chapters. Yeah. What is covered in section 6?
Chapter number 7, completion and review, is covered in section 6, and the weightage is around 9 marks to 14 marks, which means in 8% to 12%.
Okay. And same weightage is for chapter section 7,
which includes chapter 8 audit report.
So if we see section 2, 3, then your 6 and 7. All 4 sections are having weightage of 8 to 12%, right? Means chapter 2, chapter 3, chapter 7 and chapter 8. All these covers 8% to 12%, right? 4 sections are having same weightage for the same. And now next is
section 8, which includes a chapter number 9 and 10, that is special features of audit of different types of entities and audit of banks. The weightage of this chapter is around 14 marks to 21 marks.
Means same for the section 4, and you can see in section 4 we were having 2 chapters, chapter 4 and chapter 6, right? Audit evidence and audit documentation. And in section 8 we are having audit of banks and audit of various types of entities. And last but not least, section number 9
includes chapter number 11, ethics in terms of audit engagement. The weightage of this chapter is 8% to 10%, which means 9 marks to 12 marks.
So now, when you are going to appear in September examination, you are aware the weightage of each and every section. Means you are having total 11 chapters. So, अगर हम उसको segregate करते 11 chapters को, तो हमें हर chapter की almost minimum weightage हमें पता है. तो if we apply CPM part or if we do analysis, हम ये देख सकते हैं कि for passing in auditing examination, we require, of course, 40%. But for 40%, we need to target for 70 marks, right? And for 70 marks, if we see our paper pattern, when we will be discussing our paper, we will definitely be able to see the paper pattern, and 30 marks means 15 MCQs. 15 MCQs. Again, if we segregate, 3 are independent and 12 are case scenario based. Means आपको situation को पढ़ना है, analyze करना है, and according to that you need to choose the correct answer. Maybe you are choosing elimination method or any other mode, right? Or direct, you know the answer. But of course, for that you need to read the situation. So total we are having 15 MCQs, and descriptive also we are having 15. How come? We are having how many questions we are having in the paper? We have total 6 questions, right? Out of that, one is compulsory. First question is always compulsory question. That is for 14 marks. And now you need to opt out of remaining 5. 6 में से एक आपका कंपल्सरी है, बचे हुए जो 5 है उनमें से आपको 4 करना है, right? So out of 5 you need to choose any 4, and each question is, otherwise if you segregate it is divided into 3 questions, 5, 5 and 4. ठीक है? तो in total we are having 15 descriptive. 15 descriptive and 15 MCQ means you need to opt for, you need to solve 30 questions, right? If we further analyze, जो 15 MCQ उसकी weightage है 30 marks, right? And जो 15 descriptive है उसकी weightage कितना है 70 marks. ठीक है? तो we need to visualize how we can get at least minimum 50 marks. 40 cannot be target, because if we target for 40 then we are in 20s. And when we interact with the student, generally they find issue that we are not able to cross 40. We are at 32, 34, 36, or maybe at 38 or 26. So they are not able to cross the 40 marks. So you need to specifically analyze that how many questions you have to attempt and how you will segregate or how you will bifurcate the time, because you are having your 3 hours, right? It means 180 minutes and 15 minutes for reading time. So total time you are having is 195 minutes. So how you will best utilize that 195 minutes so that we can achieve the milestone of our journey, that is success. Yeah, Ankita ma'am, would you like to tell them some of the tips for the same so that we can further move to the mock test paper? And yeah.
So students, 3 hours of your examination is important, but what is more important than those 3 hours are the 15 minutes which you get for reading your question papers. Okay, those 15 minutes you have to decide that which question you are going to opt out, like which four questions. One is compulsory, and out of 5 you have to attempt 4. So which 4 questions you are going to attempt, you have to decide in those 15 minutes. And moreover, you have to decide which question you are going to attempt first, because first impression is the last impression. So attempt the question. So firstly, attempt that question which you know the best.
Right.
And in the first 15 minutes, decide that which question you are going to do the first, and optimize those 15 minutes very, very carefully. Okay, and yes, and do not waste time on one question. Like what most of the students do is that they don't know the answer, or they know but they are not able to recall it. They spend more time than that. So divide the time each question. Like for example, you are dedicating each one descriptive question, suppose 25 to 30 25 minutes to 30 minutes. Do not cross that limit. Okay, once you have reached the time limit, switch to next question. Same in the case of MCQs question. Do not spend much more time on one question.
Right. So ma'am already told you how you will decide the strategy, right? Battle of the 195 minutes, right? So out of 195 minutes, ma'am told you best utilize the 15 minutes which are given for reading time. I think we can go to upward now. Yeah, here we are having time, space, sorry. So we have 195 minutes total, means 3 hours and 15 minutes. And as ma'am told you, you need to save 15 minutes for and 15 minutes here also. राइट तो 15 मिनट आपको चाहिए रीडिंग के लिए. रीडिंग मीन्स टू डिसाइड द स्ट्रेटेजी how you are going to handle this paper. During this 15 minutes, you can best strategize. And 15 minutes, whatever strategy you have followed, the way you have written the answers, whether it is coming out in that way or not. मीन्स हम कई बार आंसर तो करेक्ट बता रहे हैं, लेकिन जब हम लिखते हैं तो हम उसको मिस कर जाते हैं. तो ये देखना बहुत जरूरी है कि जो हम सोच रहे हैं, जो आंसर हमें क्लिक कर रहा है, क्या हम उसको लिख रहे हैं या नहीं, या हमारा कुछ चीज छूट तो नहीं गया है विच वी वांट टू ऐड ऑन. तो दैट 15 minutes फॉर रिवीजन इज वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट, राइट? So out of 195 minutes, now you are left with 165 minutes. 165 minutes you are having. And for that 165 minutes, since you are having 15 MCQs, case scenario based and independent MCQ, तो 15 क्वेश्चन आपके पास ऐसे MCQs हैं जिसमें कोई नेगेटिव मार्किंग नहीं है. You can use simply when if you know the answer, अगर आपको आंसर पता है, you can directly write that answer. If you don't know, you can use the tactics like elimination method, or which is the most appropriate answer, you can use that method and you can click on the, you can write that option, right? So for 15 minutes, how many minutes you can spend? How much time you can spend? How much time you will be able, you can spend? Optimum, maximum, it can be 45 minutes because this is for 30 marks only. अगर कोई क्वेश्चन में आप अटक जाते हो तो डू रिमेंबर, ऑलवेज रिमेंबर कि इसके लिए 2 मार्क्स ही एलोकेटेड है. अगर आपने आधा घंटा उस पर लगा दिया तो आपका टाइम जो है आगे के किसी क्वेश्चन में कॉम्प्रोमाइज हो जाएगा. तो यू विल नॉट बी एबल टू अटेम्प्ट दैट क्वेश्चन फुल्ली. और अगर कोई क्वेश्चन नहीं आता है तो उसको सोचने का भी जो टाइम चाहिए वो भी हमारे पास बैलेंस नहीं रहेगा, राइट? या रिवीजन टाइम में वी विल बी कॉम्प्रोमाइजिंग. तो 30 marks to for 30 marks maximum it can go to 45 minutes only. 30 to 45 minutes you can manage, right? Now remaining 15 questions, right? So that is 5 at the rate 3 and 3 are also 5 5 4, right? For each question you can follow the pattern, you can follow that how much weightage is being complied prescribed for each and every section. Accordingly you can prepare that at least you are in safe zone, that you have already covered your 60 marks 70 marks paper, right? First you need to be in safe zone. Okay, to continue you need to be in safe zone. So please strategically think that you are prepared with the topics which you have opted in best of the possible manner, means effective and efficient, right? ऐसा नहीं होना चाहिए कि when you are writing in the examination you are missing out something, you are not able to recall. So whichever chapter you have studied, it should be in the best way, right? And for that, if you are not able to recall, then you should be ready with at least 3 cycles or 2 cycles of revision. Of course, written practice is must. At least 2 mock test paper you need to write, because when you are writing mock test paper, you are able to understand the pattern of the paper, as well as you will be able to manage the stress also, right? If you want to attempt any mock test paper, we conduct 2 mock test paper before each exam, right? So you can use that, or you can also opt for PYQs, previous year question paper, and refer the answer, whether we are on the same path, whether we are missing out something, or we are not able to write the required and relevant answer, right? So now for 15 question, how many minutes you are having, you need to best utilize that time management. Secondly, when you are planning, when you are reading the question at 15 minutes duration only, you need to decide the strategy कि पहले हमने कौन सा क्वेश्चन करना है. The question which we know best, we should start with that. Okay. Second thing, the question you know best, you will start with that, but इतना भी नहीं होना चाहिए कि we are crossing the time limit which we have prescribed for that particular question. If we have allocated 5 minutes or 10 minutes for that question, right? So for 5 or 10 minutes, we can go to 12 minutes, but we cannot go beyond that. We cannot give much more than time as we have planned. Remember one more thing, for out of these questions, like total paper, we are having 118 marks, right? Sometimes it may also happen that we don't know the answer of each and every question, right? So for 118 marks, if you don't know 30 marks paper also, then also you need not to be panic, because still you know 88 marks paper. If you don't know 40 marks paper, then also you know 78 marks paper. So please focus on that 78 marks paper and चक दे फट्टे, right? जो आता है बेस्ट ऑफ द पॉसिबल मैनर उसको हमने अटेंड करना है, rather than getting panic. Okay, so not getting panic and writing in the best of the possible manner the question which we know best, we should start with that, and without wasting a single moment, our time management should be in best of the manner, right? Now you will tell, ma'am, now we are having only 16 days time. How we should strategize the preparation that we are able to revise, and during 1.5 days time, जो 1.5 दिन का time हमको मिलता है, उसमें we are able to recall the provisions. Yeah.
So, students, now you have 16 days left and other subjects too. So, hopefully, you are going through your last revision. You have already done at least the first revision. And let's talk about how will you manage 1.5 day which you get before examination. Okay, so revise the for the revision of all the chapters. You have Saransh available at the BoS knowledge portal. It's a summary of auditing and ethics. It's basically prepared for the revision purpose, for the last minute revision. Okay, all the concepts are given in a very summarized manner, but you cannot write in the examination this language in this short form. You cannot write in the examination. This is just for your revision purpose, like just for, how to recall each and every concept, because in 1.5 days it's very difficult to go through the all of the study material. So do refer Saransh before your examination.
And of course, I'm sure you have studied well. You have prepared your handwritten notes, right? So you need to refer those handwritten notes for recalling the provisions. Of course, Saransh, definitely you can take help, right? And apart from the same, for these 16 days, at least 2 days, you need to allot for the mock test paper. At least 2 mock test paper you should write, or maybe previous year question paper. At least 2 test papers you need to write, and you should specifically allot the time to evaluate and review the same. क्योंकि ऐसा होता है कि हम क्वेश्चन को करे जा रहे हैं, सब सॉल्व कर लिया, 3 घंटे हो गए, और उसके बाद हम नेक्स्ट पे चले गए, हमने ये एनालिसिस नहीं किया कि वेयर वी आर मिसिंग, where we are lacking. So on that, we need to specifically emphasize, put focus that yes, what we need to, where we need to work more, where we need to improvise, right? And at intermediate level, we are having two type of questions. One is knowledge and comprehension, and one is application and analysis. So when we will be solving the paper, we will surely discuss separately. But for knowledge and comprehension, if you need to write 4 marks question or 5 marks question, if the answer is in small points, then you can write any. If it is in small points, then for 4 marks, you need to write 8 points, right? But if the pointers are enough and only 4 pointers are there, then you need to write 4 pointers. For 5 marks, you need to write 5 pointers. But always remember, for that 4 pointers or 5 pointers, you need to write complete 4 or complete 5 pointers. You should not write with another way of writing, like active passive or with different terminology. You need to write complete 4 or complete 5 points. क्या mistake करते हैं बच्चे?
What students do is एक ही पॉइंट को वो 3 पॉइंट्स बना देते, दे डिवाइड 1 पॉइंट्स इनटू 3 पॉइंट्स, एंड इन द सेम वे कि 4 पॉइंट लिख दे कि अब तो 4 मार्क्स मिले जाएंगे, यू विल गेट 1 पॉइंट फॉर दोस 3 पॉइंट्स. So refer the study material, see what matter is covered in 1 point and write that.
Yeah, otherwise you will be attending only not 50% paper, because for 30 marks, so definitely it's MCQ based, but for remaining 70 marks paper, you are not technically attending 35 marks paper or 40 marks paper or 30 marks paper, depending on the size of the pointers, right? So you need to definitely look into it that you are writing complete and required pointers. And for application and analysis based question, you need to write provision and explanation, fact of the case, and conclusion. Yeah. All three should be forming part of your answer. Fact of the case, provision and explanation, and conclusion. But conclusion should be based on interlinking. ये ऐसा क्यों हुआ? क्योंकि सिचुएशन में ये दिया हुआ है, प्रोविजन में ये दिया हुआ है, इसलिए ये कंक्लूजन है, राइट? So you need to interlink fact of the case with provision. Don't forget to give conclusion, because specific marks are being allocated for the conclusion. And all those resources, ma'am has already shown you that what are the resources available for you at intermediate level. It is
Study material, the July 24 version, then the revision test papers, okay, and then mock test paper, both of the series. Mock test papers are available on BoS Knowledge Portal along with the answers. So do evaluate your answers with this. Okay, then case scenario booklet, in which you have 35 case scenarios along with the reasons. Okay, like you can verify your answer and get to know why this is the correct option.
And more than that, we are having more case scenario and MCQs that is available on BoS
Yes,
Knowledge Portal, wherein you can practice the same in online mode. Yeah. Apart from these, we also have previous attempt suggested answers. Means for this new scheme, if we see technically May 24, September 24, January 25, May 25, right? So these are the examination being held, right? For those papers, you can refer those suggested answers. Saransh, ma'am already specifically told you that Saransh is not anything else. It is in the pictorial form, right? In short notes, it's given over there, so that in attractive form or in pictorial form, you are able to recall and revise the important provisions. What is model test paper? If you want to practice and you are having sufficient time, you are through with the revision also, you have appeared for mock test paper as well, you have solved your previous year examination question paper also, then each and every day for model test paper, you are having total 8 model test paper in that booklet. And for the model test paper booklet is for whole group, right? So if we talk of group 2, we are having paper 4, paper 5 and paper 6. So you will be referring paper 5, and there you will find that 8 mock test papers, the 8 model test papers are given for your ease, so that every day you can attempt one of the model test paper, and definitely you should evaluate how you are attending the questions, right? One more thing, when you are attending model test paper or you are practicing mock test paper, choose the time what is that is actually in your exam, that is for your examination, that is you should be there seated in the examination condition at 1:40, and 1:45 you should have paper in your hand. 15 minutes you will be practicing for reading time, and last 15 minutes you will practice for revision, and for the 165 minutes, no, 195 minutes you will be having. So what you will be doing, that you will be solving MCQ and case scenarios as well as descriptive questions. So you'll be practicing the overall paper, and then you need to analyze whether at what time of level we are able to secure 70 marks and what improvements we need to make. We are also aware that for each and every chapter, how many marks are being specifically allocated. If you find any of the question which is repeatedly asked, you need to note down in your one of the notebook, just like almanac or diary. right? If you feel that this topic I'm finding difficulty, or this is very important question, or this question is comprising of major many provisions, you need to note down so that when you are going for your examination, you are at least revising the same, right? If you find any specific topic like difficult, you can refer LVC or live virtual revisionary classes also. All these are available on BOS mobile app as well as on ICAI website, BOS Knowledge Portal. If you refer, you can directly go to new scheme of education and training. These everything, each and everything is given over here. If you want, you can specifically go to BOS Knowledge Portal. If you will click over there, you will find each and every resource over here, right? So you can refer any of the resource for your ease, right? So what is available for your success? All the resources, they are available over BOS Knowledge Portal. Apart from this, you can log in, and login is also very easy. You need to select the course, right? You need to write your registration number and date of birth, and you will be able to log in. And there you will find mock test paper as well, right? Which you will be able to download and solve, right? Apart from this, you will be having your MCQ practice portal also over here only. So you can use these resources, right? Yeah. So now I think we have covered almost everything in general, right? What are the resources available for you? And of course, on this portal, you are also having your Ask Your Query feature, which you can use for your doubt solving. You can directly ask us that, ma'am, we are finding difficulty in this topic, or please elaborate this pointer. So you can reach out to us, or also you can call us on 0120 3045 925, right? So not taking much of the time, let's solve MCQ part of one of the mock test paper. Then we are going to cover January 25 examination question paper as well as May 25 examination question paper, right? So not taking much of the time. If you have any doubt, Achal, Mahalakshmi, are you through? Are you with us? I hope it's clear to you. If you have any specific doubt, then you can write to us on the portal also. Yeah, Aditi is asking what is okay, WhatsApp link she want to have. Aditi, you can write on the ask your query, or we will be sharing you the link so that you can join the same, right? Yeah, so not taking much of the time, now we are moving towards the mock test paper, right? So which mock test paper we are going to cover? Okay. So I think Ankita ma'am want you to solve first mock test paper series 1. Thereafter we will take some of the questions from series 2, and then we will take PYQs, right? Yeah.
So the first case scenario is CA Trustworthy has accepted audit of financial statements of a company, Precision Industries Private Limited, for the year 24-25. The company's annual turnover for the year 24-25 is approximately 250 crores. As he is conducting the audit of a company for the first time, he started gaining knowledge of the business and its internal controls to identify and assess the risk of material misstatement. In this regard, he has made inquiries from certain personnel, including companies' in-house legal counsel and various departmental heads. As such, inquiries can divulge information that is likely to identify and assess the risk of material misstatement due to fraud or error. The company is also having internal audit department headed by Mr. A. Precisely, he has inquired from fallen person to identify and assess risk of material misstatement due to fraud or error. Okay, first Mr. A, head of internal audit department, Mr. John, in-house legal counsel, Mr. I, IT system head. Later, while conducting audit, he observed application of few controls in IT system. He also made extensive inquiries from middle-level IT personnel about application of various controls. Based on information received from inquiry of Mr. John, risk of material misstatement in litigation or claims involving the company was assessed by him. It was also decided later to issue letter of inquiry to Mr. F, who is external legal counsel of company. So he has also gone through various internal audit reports submitted to the management and decided to use internal auditor to provide direct assistance to perform following procedure labeled as P, Q, R, and S. Okay, so P. Okay, so P provides assistance for to vouch various expense bills, Q to trace transaction through information system, R to verify accuracy of aging of trade receivables, S to evaluate appropriateness of management's use of going concern assumption. During the course of audit, he has verified samples of sales invoice with entries recorded in books of accounts and sent external confirmation requests to selected trade receivables. There were 100 trade receivable outstanding as at 31st March 2025, and it was decided to send external confirmation requests to 20 trade receivables. He had chosen one trade receivable balance randomly, and thereafter every fifth balance was chosen. The response to external confirmation requests were duly received. Okay, so based on the above case, you have to answer the following questions.
So what is the first question? First question is about, in context of inquiries made by CA trustworthy, which of the following statement is true? So inquiries from John and F are in the nature of risk assessment procedure. Inquiries from A, John, and I are in the nature of substantive procedure. A, John, and I are in the nature of risk assessment procedures. Or inquiries from John and F are in the nature of substantive procedure. Now here we need to go back to the question, right? So what kind of inquiries are being conducted with Mr. A? Mr. A is head of internal audit department. Mr. John is in-house legal counsel, and Mr. I, IT system head, right? So, which will be the correct answer? Can any one of you tell, Achal? Right? So, he has inquired from following person to identify and assess risk of material misstatement. Can you tell? Yeah, if we read the above para also, that is also linked with the same, that he has made inquiries from certain personnel, that is in-house legal counsel, various department head. Yeah, she is writing in the chat. All are risk assessment. Yeah, can you unmute and tell why it is? Achal? Yeah.
Ma'am, as we are asking them about different things, we are making inquiry to make sure about the risks that are assessed by us.
Okay. And what about F? Because
Uh,
here we are talking about which answer you said? You said all are risk assessment, right? So I think you want to give answer of the C, or you want to talk about A?
Ma'am, C.
C, right? So why F is not in risk assessment procedure? If you can just throw some light. Because F is external legal counsel. F is not in-house. F is external legal counsel. So C is the correct answer, right? You have rightly told that C is the correct answer, that A, John, and I are in nature of risk assessment procedures, right? Yeah. Next question. In which of the following areas CA trustworthy is unlikely to use internal auditor to provide direct assistance to him? Now, which standard talks about Which standard deals with the internal auditor providing direct assistance? Can any one of you tell which standard talks about direct assistance to be taken from the internal auditor? Can anyone you tell me SA's name or number? Hmm? Aditi? Achal? So direct assistance from the internal auditor is discussed in the SA 610 using the work of internal auditor. So when we are using the internal auditor for some of the at some of the areas we can take assistance from internal auditor, right? Statutory auditor can take assistance from internal auditor, but not for everything, right? So in this case क्या help चाहते हैं वो? Work as stated at P, S, or work as stated at Q, or work as stated at R. So कहाँ आप लोग unlikely to use internal auditor to provide direct assistance to him? Okay, so let's read what is given in P. It's to vouch few expenses bills. P is to vouch few expenses bills. So whether we can provide this, we can use direct assistance for the P? Yes. To trace transaction through information system. Whether we can trace the transaction through information system? Yes. To verify accuracy of aging of trade receivable as per SA 610, yes, we can use that also. To evaluate appropriateness of management's use of going concern assumption. No, we cannot use that because it is high risk is involved over here. Significant assumptions are to be made. So, as per SA 610, S activity, S procedure cannot be for S procedure, CA trustworthy cannot use internal auditor to provide direct assistance. So correct answer is B, right? Yeah.
Next question is, with regards to audit evidence obtained during the audit, which of the following statement is incorrect as discussed in the case scenario? A. Sales invoice and responses to inquiries from middle level IT system personnel are example of internal evidence. B. Audit evidence obtained from inquiry of middle level IT system personnel is more reliable than observation of application of few controls by CA trustworthy. C. Response to external confirmation requests are example of external evidence. D. Internal audit reports are an example of documentary evidence.
Yeah. Can anyone of you tell which one is the correct answer? A, B, C, or D? Yeah, you are very right, Achal. B is the correct answer. Audit evidence obtained from inquiry of middle level IT system personnel is more reliable than observation of application of few controls by CA trustworthy. You know, in the question it was asked, which of the following statement is incorrect, right? So we need to choose the incorrect option. So we need to read the question carefully that which one is the incorrect option, right? Yeah. Next question. Because sales invoice and response to inquiries from middle level IT system definitely is example of internal evidence. Internal audit report are example of documentary evidence, and response to external confirmation requests are also example of external evidence. So correct answer is yes, audit evidence obtained from inquiry of middle level IT system personnel is more reliable. It cannot be, right? Then obtained through observation of application of few controls by CA trustworthy, which is not correct. So we need to choose the incorrect option only. Yeah.
Fourth question is, while selecting samples of trade receivable described in the case scenario, which method is being used? Block sampling, systematic sampling, monetary unit sampling, or stratified sampling?
So let's move to the question again. What is being given for the sampling, how they are using the sampling method. In the question, it was mentioned that during the course of audit, he has verified, yeah, he has verified sample of sales invoice with entries recorded in books of accounts and send external confirmation request to selected trade receivables. और क्या चूज किया उन्होंने 100 ट्रेड रिसीवेबल आउटस्टैंडिंग एज ऑन 31 मार्च 2025 and it was decided to send external confirmation request to 20 trade receivables and he had chosen one trade receivable balance randomly and thereafter every fifth balance was chosen. So which one it is? It is block sampling? No, because in block sampling we tend to use blocks method, right? It is not monetary unit sampling. It is not stratified sampling. So answer is right. It is systematic sampling, right? Where we are systematically selecting the sample, systematic sampling. Yeah. Last question. Choose option showing correct value of population, sampling interval, and sample size respectively from description given in case scenario. What three things you need to search? Population, sampling interval, and sample size. Now, if we talk of population, sampling interval, and sample size. So, what is your population? Population is 100 trade receivable, right? Population means total number. 100 trade receivable is population. Now, what is next asked? Sampling interval. Interval will be every fifth balance. So, every fifth balance means interval is 5. And next was asked is sample size, right? So you need to choose sample size. Now what will be the correct answer? 100, 5 and 20. Because sample size what we have taken? Confirmation request to 20 trade receivable. हमने कितने लोगों को भेजने के लिए सोचा? 20. Yeah, correct answer, Achal. 100, 5 and 20. Right. So answer will be A, 100, 5 and 20 because 100 is the population given over there. 5 is every fifth balance means interval is 5. And if we talk of sample size, we need to request for 20 trade receivable. It means sample size is 20, right? Yeah. So whether we should take next from here only or we should go to May 25 examination paper. Can you write in the chat? May 25. This is. So yeah, right. So we are starting with May 25 examination question paper, right? So we are starting with 1 or 2 case study. Then we will be taking descriptive questions, right? Yeah, start.
So Rama and Associates have been appointed as statutory.
So in one of the method, we read the case scenario carefully. Another way of solving the case scenario can be, we can directly start with the, since in this question, though, case scenario is too small. If the case scenario is lengthy one, we can also follow the pattern where we can read the questions. But of course, we need to read the case scenario completely. Okay, we cannot skip any of the part because you never know that where you are going to lack. Means उस scenario से related कोई भी point कहीं और भी covered हो सकता है. So if you are missing that part, then your answer will be incorrect. So you need to read the whole case scenario, but of course you can choose any of the way. First, either you may read the case scenario, then you may go to question, and again you need to read the case scenario, refer the case scenario, just like we did in this mock test paper series 1 question. Second one is you can directly read the questions and then you can refer the case scenario. Like this is since small case scenario, so we are reading it completely. However, when we will be moving towards next case scenario, that might not be so small, so then we will be referring that pattern also. Yeah.
So Rama and Associates have been appointed as the statutory auditors of a government company H Limited by Comptroller and Auditor General of India for financial year 24-25. H Limited is engaged in manufacturing of metro train coaches. CA Rama, the engagement partner, had to conduct audit of expenditure as well of receipts. During the course
So you need to understand this is chapter number, which chapter it is? Audit of various type of entities. Audit of different type of entities, right? And C&AG is also being mentioned. And what the other facts given in the case scenario, if we refer, we can directly identify that this question is from the, like, they are engaged in manufacturing of metro train coaches, C&AG is involved. So we can see that which chapter it will be. Then CA Rama engagement partner had to conduct audit of expenditure as well of receipt. Means CA Rama is auditing expenditure also and receipt also, right? During the course of audit, CA Rama
also found that the company has constructed its new stockyard for parking its metro coaches and maintenance of its metro coaches. However, the newly constructed stockyard was not being used by the company for the designated purpose.
So what was the purpose? Purpose was constructed its new stock yard for parking its metro coaches. One was parking, second is maintenance of its metro coaches, but they are not using the same for the designated purpose. Means whatever purpose we have decided for the same, we are not using for the, and company continued using the
rented stockyard.
So we have constructed also, but we are using rented itself. Yeah.
So CA Rama considered such expenditure as infructuous and avoidable expenditure. The engagement partner also discussed with his team regarding the areas to be covered while conducting the audit of receipts. The reporting responsibilities of engagement team were also discussed by engagement partner with his team.
Now, what is given in the first question? In the first question, it is being asked from you that dash is conducted to ensure that the various program scheme and projects were large financial expenditure and have been incurred or run economically and are yielding result expected of them. Now you need to identify what kind of audit it is, right? First, it is propriety audit. Second, audit against rules and order, performance audit, or audit against provisions of fund. So this is very simple. Here we got the glance of the scenario, but the question we can identify that which of the audit will be the correct answer, right? What we are doing here is we are doing the audit to conduct, to ensure that various programs, scheme, projects where large financial expenditure have been incurred are run economically and yielding result expected of them. So it is not propriety audit. In propriety audit, what we check? What we check in propriety audit? That case where we are making payment are as per proprietary concept, right? It is okay. It is not wrong, right? And audit against rules and orders means, audit against rules and orders means we are following the rules, whether we are not following the rules or whether we are following the rules, and whatever orders are being given, whether we are following the same or not. For performance audit, what we are going to check that large financial expenditure have been incurred or run economically and yielding result expected of them. Audit against provision of fund means whatever provision has been made, whether we are using that fund for that purpose or not, right? So in this question, correct option will be option number C, performance audit, right? Because various programs, scheme and projects where large expenditure has been incurred are being run economically and are yielding result expected of them, and such an audit is termed as performance audit. Yeah, next question.
While conducting audit against provision of funds, the statutory auditors Rama and Associates must check that each item of expenditure is covered by a sanction, either general or special of competent authority. B. That the expenditure incurred have been on the purpose for which the grant and the appropriation has been provided and the amount of such expenditure does not exceed the appropriation made. C. That the expenditure conforms to the relevant provision of the Constitution and of the laws and rules made thereunder. D. That the expenditure is in accordance with financial rules, regulations, and orders issued by the competent authority.
So which one will be the correct answer? Can I expect from Achal? Achal, can you tell which is the correct answer? Yeah, can you tell? No. Audit against provision of funds is being asked. It is not audit against rules. Against provision of funds. Right? So when we are talking about audit against provision of fund, beta, then we need to see that expenditure incurred has been on the purpose for which the grant and appropriation has been provided, means for which we have provided for. Yeah. Now you are opting correct answer, and the amount of such expenditure does not exceed the appropriation made. So for audit against provision of fund, we need to see that whether it is being provided, and whatever amount is being provided, it is not exceeding, means expenditure does not exceed that, right? So B will be the correct answer. In D, what is being given? Expenditure is in accordance with the financial rules, regulation and orders. So what will be it? It will be as per rules and orders, right? Yeah. Third one.
Which type of the expenditure audit covers the scrutiny of the expenditure incurred on the construction of stockyard by the company, which is considered as infurious and avoidable by CA Rama?
So you need to tell whether it is proprietary audit,
audit against provision of funds, audit of sanctions, performance audit.
so first you see what is being given, that this type of expenditure audit cover the scrutiny of expenditure. For what purpose? As infructuous and avoidable, whether it was required or not, whether it is proprietary or not. Now, you are aware that what is audit against provision of fund? We have already discussed the situation that for provision of fund, the amount should be provided for and the amount of the expenditure should not exceed the amount for which appropriation has been made. Audit of sanction means it is appropriately sanctioned by the sanctioning authority. Performance audit we have already discussed in question number 1, where we have seen that large financial expenditure has been incurred, are being run economically and are yielding result expected of them. So this is your proprietary audit. Okay. In proprietary audit, you can see that company need to ensure that the expenditure made are not infructuous and avoidable, right? So that is checked in proprietary audits. Yeah.
Second case.
So in second case, we are planning to follow the vice versa method. We will first read the question, then we will go to the scenario if it is required. So depending on the situation, right? So CAB, an articled clerk responsible for the audit procedures concerning inventory, found that the inventory amounting rupees 38 lakhs after excluding of 2 lakh of inventory that was held by PQ Limited. Who is checking, Mr. B, article clerk? He is checking that inventory amounting to 38 lakh after excluding 2 lakh of inventory that was held by PQ Limited as a consignee. PQ Limited is a consignee, has been recognized in the balance sheet. Which of the following assertions related to inventory are applicable in this situation? Can any one of you tell me whether it is occurrence, completeness, rights and obligation, measurement, right? And if we look at the options in much detail, we are having option 1 and 2, 2 and 3, 3 and 4, 1 and 4, right? For this question, we need not to read the whole scenario because crux of the scenario is given with the in the question itself. Because if we read the case scenario, it's given that AB and company chartered accountant are appointed, X is engagement partner, assigns the task of auditing various items of financial statement. So we can simply identify it is relating to chapter 5, audit of various items of financial statement. And X explain, right? In addition to component detail that how we need to check, right? So everything is given over there, but they hint it is given in the question is, however, before formulating and providing an opinion, the auditor must first examine the truth of various specific assertions that make up each of these statements. By evaluating these individual assertion, auditor can then form a judgment regarding the financial statement as a whole. So now we can see here that in this particular case scenario, we are talking about the assertion, right? So now moving back to the question, because we have seen that in case scenario, of course, it is giving glimpse, it is giving overview, but if we read the question itself, nothing is left out and we can definitely choose the correct answer. It will save our time also, right? So Mr. B is article clerk. He is responsible for audit procedure. And what he has observed that inventory amounting to 38 lakh after 38 lakhs after excluding 2 lakh of inventory that was held by PQ Limited as a consignee has been recognized in the balance sheet. Now, if we talk of assertion, occurrence, completeness, rights and obligation and measurement, you need to tell which two assertion will be involved in this situation. Yeah. Can any one of you tell? Achal? Achal? Rights. Okay. That is one assertion because we are having option like 1 and 2, 2 and 3, 3 and 4, 1 and 4. Means occurrence assertion, completeness assertion, rights and obligation, and measurement assertion, right? So, of course, rights and obligation you have correctly mentioned because here the right for the inventory which is held by PQ Limited as a consignee is with the company itself. So definitely rights and obligation assertion will be one of the answer. And second one is it should be completeness assertion. Why? Because the inventory held by the entity have been recorded, right? So correct answer is second and third, okay, in the financial statement and do not include any inventory that belong to third party. Here this 2 lakh of inventory is belonging to the company itself. So correct answer will be B, right? Second and third above. Okay. Here we are not talking about the measurement. We are not talking about the valuation. One important point is here we are talking about segregation, right? So what should be the segregation? Where it will be? So complete information should reflect and rights and obligations. So these two will be the correct. Okay. Yeah.
Next question is Mr. C, an article clerk responsible for the audit procedure regarding the share capital, found that during the year under audit, PQ Limited had issued sweat equity shares amounting to rupees 10 lakh. Which of the following statement regarding the issue of sweat equity shares are correct? It can be issued to employees. Second, it can be issued to directors. Third, It can be issued at a discount. Fourth, it should be of a class of shares already issued by PQ Limited.
And one more thing, Achal, I want to tell you that measurement assertion is not for balance sheet. It's for income statement, right? So in that part, it is talking about the balance sheet item inventory. So we will not opt for measurement. We will go for completeness. So we need to choose the correct one. Yeah. In this question, which Ankita ma'am already told you, and we are having 1, 2, 3, 4, and options are 1 and 3 above, 1, 2, and 3 above, 1, 2, and 4 above, 1, 2, 3, and 4 above. So all the 4 are also being given in the option. But you should be aware that for sweat equity shares, which statement will be correct, right? So first you should be knowing that yes, it can be issued to employees. Yes, sweat equity shares can be issued to employees. So this is correct. It can be issued to director. So we can issue that to director also means you can issue to employee as well. You can issue to director. And sweat equity shares can be issued at discount itself also. And it should be of a class of shares already issued by PQ Limited. Yes. It's very important for sweat equity share can be issued for that class of shares only which is already being issued earlier. So of course 1, 2, 3, and 4 all are forming correct answer. So correct answer will be D. What is it? 1, 2, 3, and 4. Yeah. Next.
Mr. D, an article clerk, was performing audit procedures related to reserves and surplus in PQ Limited. Tell him that which statements are correct in respect of reserve and surplus. First, reserves are the amount appropriated for the out of profits for commitment. Second, securities premium is a capital reserve. Third, a debit balance in the statement of profit and loss account shall be shown as a negative figure under the head surplus. Fourth, all reserves can be used to augment the working capital of the company. So you have to tell which of the statements are correct. 1 and 2, 2 and 3, 3 and 4, or 2 and 4.
So in this also we need to apply all the 4 conditions, right? So reserve are the amount appropriated out of profit for commitment, whether it is correct or not. You need to tell me. Yeah, I'm waiting for your answer. Dear students, if you are using a portal, then also you can write. If you have login through portal means, and if you are on, yeah, you need to write answer also that if we talk of reserve and surplus, reserve are the amounts appropriated out of profit for commitment. Of course, it is correct. It is very much implied. Security premium is a capital reserve. Yes or no? Whether security premium is capital reserve or not. Hmm? It is? It is? Hmm? So, reserve are the amount appropriated out of profit for commitment. Oh. So we miss the word commitment. So if we read, if it is not for commitment, then it is general reserve. Then it is open. Okay. So if it is for commitment, then it cannot be correct for reserve and surplus. Okay. Security premium is capital reserve. Yes or no? Yes or no? Yes, it is a capital reserve. A debit balance in the statement of profit and loss account shall be shown as negative figure under the head surplus. Right or wrong? Can any one of you tell? Debit balance in the statement of P&L account shall be shown as negative figure. Yes, because it is indicating that it is not positive, right? It is not profit. Debit balance itself means it is a negative figure under the head surplus. So this is also correct. All reserve can be used to augment the working capital? No, all reserves cannot be used. So this is also wrong. Right? So now which one is the correct answer? Second and third above means B option. Huh? Yeah. Next question.
Next question is, Mr. E, an article clerk, was not sure about which items should be considered as intangible assets in PQ Limited. According to AS 26, which of the following items should not be recognized as intangible assets? Internally generated goodwill, compact disk in the case of computer software, copyrights, computer software for computer controlled machine tools that cannot operate without the specific software, which is an integral part of related hardware. So options are 1 and 2, 2 and 3, 3 and 4, or 1 and 4. You have to tell which of the items should not be recognized as intangible assets.
Yeah. So Achal, would you like to tell the answer? Or Anjali? Yeah. Would you explain this? This is as per Accounting Standard 26. Yeah.
So internally generated goodwill should not be recognized as intangible assets. So first is not recognized. Second is compact disk in case of computer software. So this should be recognized as intangible assets. Copyrights also to be recognized as intangible assets. Fourth is computer software for computer controlled machine tools that cannot operate without the specific software, which is integral part of related hardware. So this should be treated as fixed assets instead of intangible assets. Okay, so the correct option will be D, that is 1 and 4.
Because in the question it is specifically asked, should not be recognized. So that is the reason option D is the correct answer, right? So I think we have taken two case scenarios, and last case MCQ of this case scenario is Mr. F, an article clerk, want to know that which of the below statement is, again we are asking about incorrect statement while auditing depreciation and amortization expenses in PQ Limited. Now you need to tell me about depreciation and amortization have been charged as per useful life of PP and intangible asset. Correct or incorrect? It is correct. है ना? Depreciation. What is Aditi asking?
Yes, Aditi, all of these resources are available. You have to log in to get the MTP, and RTP is also available on the portal.
Yeah. So for this question, Aditi, you can answer also. For amortization and depreciation, the question is specifically asking about incorrect statement. And this is your May 25 examination question paper, which we are solving over here. Depreciation and amortization have been charged as per useful life of PP and intangible asset. Of course, correct. Depreciation on the revalued amount should be accounted from the revaluation reserve. Again, okay. Depreciation would be charged on asset from the date of actual use, not when they are ready to use. That is wrong, right? Because depreciation is charged when the asset is ready to use. It cannot be when you are actually using that. I have brought one machinery which is in usable condition, right? And I have acquired the machinery on 1st April. So I need to compute depreciation for whole year. It cannot be that I am using the same in the month of October or November, right? So C is the correct answer. And last one is depreciation and amortization should be computed prospectively whenever there is any change in useful life of PP and intangible asset. That is also correct. So the answer for the same is C. Why C? Because in the question it is being asked which statement is incorrect. And C is the statement which is incorrect, right? Yeah.
Aditi, can you specify which document you are talking about? Because till now we have shared only MTP and suggested answers.
Yeah. So let's move to Next case scenario, right? So for this case scenario, which approach we should use? Whether we should use the question only. So we are going to use the question only, right? In initial stage of conducting audit of HT Private Limited, CA Mr. D decided to evaluate internal control of the company. Evaluation of internal control is very important part of. So you see, this question is this question is not talking about, means it's specifically telling you, you can without reading the case scenario also, though it is related to case scenario, but you can still use the same. Mrs. DJ and associate have been appointed. So here auditor's name is given, year is being given, right? 24-25. Then D engagement partner and a team comprising HT Private Limited, initial stage of audit. They decided to evaluate internal control to gather information, right? So which method would be helpful? So we can see that while taking the glance, we can refer without referring the same. If we want, we can answer the question, right? So first question is, in initial stage of conducting audit of HT Private Limited, Mr. D decided to evaluate internal control of the company. Now, for what reason internal control evaluation is important? For audit report, audit evidence, audit documentation, or audit program. So in initial stage, it is asked. Of course, internal control evaluation is important for audit report, evidence, documentation, everything. But when we are on initial stage, what will be, for what evaluation of internal control is very important part of? It is audit program, because we need to read the question carefully, right? So correct answer is D. Okay. Yeah. Next.
The method suggested by the first team member, according to which a series of instructions and or questions which a member of the auditing staff must follow or answer. When he completes instruction, he initials the space against the instructions. This method is called as flowchart, checklist, narrative record, or questionnaire.
In audit program, I also want to add that examination and evaluation of internal control system is an indispensable part of the overall audit program, right? So that is the reason it is very, very important document. But when we are talking about question number 10, here the steps given for the flowchart, checklist, or narrative record or questionnaire, right? You need to check what is being asked. Series of instruction or questions. Series of instructions or question. It is not questionnaire, because member of the auditing staff must follow or answer. And when he complete instruction, he initials the space against the instruction. So this method will be called as, this will be, what is it? This is checklist, right? Right?
Checklist.
Why it is checklist? Because checklist is series of, checklist is series of instructions or questions, right? When member of auditing staff will check and complete the instructions, and thereafter he will sign. And if we refer the situation, it is given in the question also. Yeah. First team member of team suggested that they should follow a method of in which a series of instructions are required to be followed and answered by the audit team. And the answer to these instructions are usually yes, no, or not applicable. These instructions are framed having regard to the desirable elements of control. And second team member is suggesting a method in which a complete and exhaustive description of internal control system is found in operation is recorded by the auditor. And third team member is also there. Yeah. Third member of team suggested a method in which comprehensive series of questions concerning internal control were required to be answered, which would provide information about internal control. So looking at these 3 pointers, we can see that these are the main questions basically, which are forming part of the same. Yeah. So the method suggested by the second team member, we have discussed, we have seen what second team member was telling. Complete and exhaustive description of internal control in operation is recorded. We have discussed about checklist. So of course it is not checklist. So we are having remaining 3 options. Definitely when we are talking about complete and exhaustive description, means it is not questionnaire. Visual tool is also not talked down. It means it is not flowchart, diagrammatic presentation or visual tool. So correct answer is narrative record. You can simply choose the correct answer, or if you are not aware, then you need to simply eliminate and then you need to opt for the correct answer. So for a complete and exhaustive description of internal control in operation, the narrative record will be the correct answer.
Next question is, the third team member suggested a method in which a comprehensive series of questions concerning internal control is used to collect information. These questions are usually issued to the client and the client is requested to fill it. This method of gathering information so that internal control can be evaluated, called as internal control questionnaire, flowchart, narrative record, checklist. So this question asks about comprehensive series of questions concerning internal control.
So we have discussed checklist and it is having comprehensive series of questions. So checklist is not. Then in this situation, we are not having complete and exhaustive description. So narrative record is also not here. Then we don't have any visual tool which give overall information. So it is not flowchart. So the answer is internal control questionnaire. Yeah.
Next question is,
These
now
are independent MCQs. So in the MCQ paper, we are having 12 case scenario based and 3 independent MCQs, right? Yeah.
ABC Limited is undergoing an audit and the auditors are evaluating the reliability of different types of audit evidence. External evidence is generally considered to be more reliable than internal evidence. The following is not an example of internal evidence. First is inspection report, purchased invoice, goods invoice note, bank reconciliation statement.
So now you need to tell what is the correct answer. What is not example of internal evidence? Which is not internal evidence? Inspection report, definitely internal evidence. Purchase invoice, sorry, is following is not an example of internal evidence. Which is not an example of internal evidence? Purchase invoice, internal evidence. So it is example. Goods received note. Goods received note is being sent by, who sent goods received note? So it is not internal evidence. BRS is prepared in-house, so it is also internal evidence. So correct answer is goods receive note, right? Goods receive note is shared by the, sorry, purchase invoice is shared by the, purchase invoice is not internally generated because we are purchasing. So purchase invoice will be not an example of internal evidence because we receive this from others, and good received note will be not, will be the example of internal evidence.
Which of the following statement is incorrect with regard to written representations? A. Written representations are an important source of audit evidence. B. written representations are necessary information that the auditor requires in connection with the audit of entities' financial statements. C. Written representations not only provide necessary audit evidence but also provide sufficient appropriate audit evidence on their own about any of the matters with which they deal. Written representation only provide necessary audit evidence but do not provide sufficient appropriate audit evidence on their own about any of the matters which they deal.
Now, in the question, they are asking about
Incorrect.
incorrect with regard to written representation. Of course, it is important source, but which essay talks about written representation? Essay 580. Essay 580 talks about written representation, right? So it's an important source. So it is not incorrect. Is necessary information that auditor require in connection with the audit of entity statement. It is also correct. C is written representation not only provide necessary audit evidence but also provide sufficient appropriate audit evidence. It cannot provide sufficient appropriate audit evidence on their own about any of matter with which they deal. So if we read a combined statement, this is incorrect. And written representation, if we compare C and D, only provide necessary audit evidence but do not provide sufficient appropriate audit evidence on their own about any of the matters with which they deal. अगर किसी matter पे we are dealing here with, we cannot at our own provide that it is sufficient appropriate audit evidence. It cannot be, right? So correct answer is C. And I hope 13th is also clear because it was just simply like not an example. Generally, when we read in the exam, then generally sometimes it happens that we miss this word also. And our brain is also focused on example of internal evidence, right? And according to that, we used to click on the correct answer. So we should not forget that it not word is also given over there. So purchase invoice is not an example of internal evidence because when we purchase the material, when we purchase the asset, this invoice is provided by the supplier, right? Other all parts are internal evidence like inspection report, goods received note, BRS, all are internal evidence because these originate within the organization, right? Being audited is also internal evidence. Okay? Yeah.
The last question is, which of the following statements is inappropriate? A. Once the overall audit strategy is established, an audit plan can be developed to address the various matters identified in the overall audit strategy. B. The establishment of an overall audit strategy is as well as detailed audit plan are not necessarily discrete or sequential process. C. Audit strategy and audit plan are not interrelated as changes in one may not result in consequential changes to the other. D. The audit plan is more detailed than the audit strategy. That includes the nature, timing, and extent of audit procedures to be performed by engagement team members. So we have to tell which of the statement is inappropriate, incorrect.
Yeah. So which one is the incorrect answer? That they are not interrelated. I'm not taking much time in this because we need to solve descriptive part also. So directly clicked on the right answer, right? Audit strategy and audit plan are interrelated. So here it is clearly given not interrelated because change in one may not result. It is never ever happen. If there is change in audit plan or audit strategy, consequential change will be happen to others also. So correct answer is C. Yeah. Now we are moving towards descriptive also. So the way we have covered case scenario and we have taken time in the examination, you need to look for the tips that how you can complete the MCQ paper in 30 minutes so that you can move for descriptive part, right? So first question of descriptive, So we will take example of knowledge and comprehension based question also, application analysis based question also. And for 5 marks, how much we should write? For 4 marks, how much we need to write? And for 3 marks, how much we need to write? Yeah.
The first question is, YZW and Company have been appointed as the statutory auditors of First Health Private Limited for the financial year 24-25. CAY is the engagement partner for this assignment. First Health Private Limited operates in the business of hospitals and pharmaceuticals with 60 hospitals and 20 pharmacy stores across the country. The company has a turnover of rupees 680 crores and profit after tax of 32 crores in the current year. While verifying the assertions about book debts, CAY was informed about the availability of clients' ledger invoices, debit notes, and credit notes as audit evidence. CAY accepts these documents as audit evidence, considering them to be available. So the first requirement is this decision correct based on the meaning of the term available?
So if we read the question once again, because what happened when in the examination you read the question, sometimes we are not able to understand the requirement of the question, right? So what is being happened in this case? Pharmaceutical company with 60 hospital, 200 pharmacy. The company has a turnover of 680 crore and profit after tax of 32 crore in the current year, right? And when we are verifying the assertion about book debts, he was informed that availability of the client's ledger invoice, debit note, and credit note as audit evidence. He said only available options are client's ledger invoice, debit note, and credit note as audit evidence. And CAY accept these documents as audit evidence, considering them to be available. So whether he is correct, whether CAY is correct in this or not. So first you need to write about the fact of the case, right? Whatever situation is being given in the question, you need to write about the same. I told you for application and analysis, you need to write fact of the case, provision and explanation, plus conclusion. In conclusion, you need to interlink the same. For 3 marks question, now what we are going to do, we will just write that in the given situation or in the instant case or in the given case, YZW and Company is chartered accountant appointed as statutory auditor for the company which operate in business of hospital and pharmaceuticals with 60 hospitals and 200 pharmacy stores, right? So this we have given. Then we have written that CAY is what? Engagement partner, right? And CAY engagement partner was informed about the available audit evidence. What is available? Client's ledger invoice, debit note, and credit note as audit evidence. Okay, so these are the available evidence you are having. Now, why should do for verifying assertion about regarding what? What he is checking? Availability. For what? Book debts. Book debts means trade receivable, accounts receivables, right? For receivables, do you think whether only these three will be sufficient? Client's ledger invoice, debit note, who issued debit note, who issued credit note, only three will be okay. So book debts means accounts. So for verifying assertion about book debts, client's ledger invoice, debit note, credit note, or monthly account statement sent to customer, these all are evidence, right? And some of these are corroborative and others are being complementary. Some are corroborative and complementary, right? And for this, we are also having balance confirmation method. We can opt for SA 505. Confirmation request can be sent. That is, obtain greater satisfaction about the reliability of the assertion, right? So if we talk the decision, why accepted? Why accepted? Yes, I will check only client's ledger invoice, only debit note and credit note. Considering these are only available audit evidence. No, CAY is not correct because available does not mean that evidence available with the client is the only available evidence. Auditor should know that what else he can do for the circumstances and how he can make best use of that, right? So he can use for external confirmation method also. So in view of above, it cannot be correct that it cannot be concluded that decision of CAY is correct. He is not correct because he should apply other procedure also. Now, if we see the answer of the same, I can tell you that yes, this is fact of the case. He accepted these documents as audit evidence. It's given in the situation itself, which you can write over there. For verifying assertion about book debts, what he need to check? Client's ledger invoice, debit note, credit note, of course. But apart from the same monthly account statement sent to the customer, these are all evidence. But balance confirmation procedure is greater satisfaction about the reliability of assertions, right? Because who will be confirming? Maybe debtor or creditor. So outside, right? External confirmation means from the outside you are receiving the confirmation. So available does not mean that the evidence available with client is the only available evidence. We need to look forward. So here you have given fact of the case. You have discussed about the other option and meaning of the available, and thereafter you have concluded that yes, in view of above, it can be concluded the decision of CAY, because in the question it is specifically asked from you that is this decision correct based on the meaning of term available. So you need to write that yes, this decision is not correct based on the meaning of term available, right? You need to conclude. For this, specific marks are allocated. So you need to write the same. Now, if we move towards next part of the question,
Explain how an auditor should select the most appropriate evidence when testing the accuracy of any assertion to form an opinion.
so how auditor will select the most appropriate evidence? How he will check that accuracy of assertion is okay, है ना? So for that also, now it is purely, now you can say that it is knowledge based some part, right? So you need to write that yes, evidence is very basis for formulation of opinion. Importance of evidence you need to write. What is best evidence for testing the accuracy is matter of expert knowledge and experience, right? And for this, you are having some of the examples which you can write, like documentary examination, physical examination, statement, explanation of management, statement and explanation of third party, calculation by auditor. These all are combined form best audit evidence. Subsidiary memorandum records, interrelationship of various accounting data. So all these are the methods, the procedures, means the auditor picks up as an evidence from variety of field, right? So you can write for 2 marks any of the four, right? So for 2 marker, the second part, you need to write about the what is evidence, what is best evidence, right? Now, let's once again read how an auditor should select the most appropriate evidence when testing the accuracy of any assertion to form an opinion. So you need to write about the importance of evidence, what is best evidence, and then definitely you need to write that in the process, auditor would be in a position to identify the evidence that brings the highest satisfaction to him about the appropriateness or otherwise. If we talk about trade receivable or trade payable, then definitely external confirmation method and other methods can be used. But if we talk general for the assertion, then definitely variety of fields are in the answer, out of which you can write for any four, like minutes or subsequent action by the client, subsidiary memorandum records, right? So these are listing, but you need not to write the whole 10 pointers. You can write, if the pointers are bigger one, you need to write two. else you can write any 4, right? Yeah. श्रुति इज राइटिंग, वैसे तो प्रीवियस बैच देख रही हूँ अपने जनवरी 26 अटेम्प्ट के लिए, उसमें देखा मैंने कि वर्ड, और एक और चीज, क्या ये बैच जनवरी 26 के लिए है?
Shruti, for the link of WhatsApp group, you can ask us at Ask My Query. Okay, we will revert you there the link. And this is Success at CA exam for September examination.
But definitely you can refer also.
You can refer.
Though it is for September, for Success at the CA exam is for every attempt. Here what we are discussing is previous year question paper. So any one of you can refer the same, because what we have discussed, if you will analyze, you will see we have discussed section wise, skill wise weightage. We have strategy, we have discussed strategy, how you should attempt for the paper, how you should prepare for the paper, how much time you should allocate, how much revisions are required if you are taking simultaneously 2 to 3 revision, how you are going to solve the case scenario based MCQs or independent MCQs. Rather, when we were discussing the case scenario based MCQs or general MCQs, we also tried to do some kind of mistakes that might be intentional or unintentional, because this happened when we actually appear in the examination. So sometimes to portray, we need to wrong opt the correct or incorrect answer, so that you can understand that yes, this happens in the examination also. So for January 26 or in onwards also, they can refer these Success at CA exam series, right? It will help you all when you are preparing for the examination. Further, for LVC or LVRC batch, if you are asking for January 26 attempt, you can definitely refer those sessions, because in auditing subject, much amendments, though there is no amendment, same syllabus is there. So if you want to join the live session through Zoom and you want to ask live queries also, definitely you can join the same. Of course, the batch is meant specifically for May 26 examination. But since I told you that there is no amendments in auditing, so you can definitely join that session, right? And for the link of the group, you need to write on ask your query, as I already told you, or you can call on 0120 3045 925. Shruti and Aditi, I'm telling to both of you, and we will share the link also. Okay? Yeah. Yeah. So next question was very simple question. If we read, I hope first A is clear. Now first B is for mention the type of controls in an automated environment. Okay. So you need to tell the types of control for the same. Second one is
Identify the type of control in the following table. In column B against column A, which contains area where controls are to be implemented in an automated environment.
So in this, we are having in column A, access security, sequence number check, data center and network operation, mandatory data field. Definitely types of control first you need to tell. For one marker question, it's simple knowledge based question. You need to write that control in an automated environment are can be categorized general IT control, application control or IT dependent control, right? And since in the next part it is specifically asking you that what is access security. So access security is general IT control, right? So you need to write simply in front of access security, it is general IT control, right? In next, sequence number check. If we talk of sequence number check, it is application. So it is application controls. Now next is data center and network operation. Again, it is general IT control. And mandatory data field, it is again application control. So this was scoring actually. For the 1 mark, you need to tell the type of control, and for another 3 marks, you need to write about the which control is involved in the particular activity, right? Yeah. 1C.
BPA and Associates was appointed as the auditors of Nissan Limited, a company with pan-India presence for the financial year 23-24. The audit report was raised on 20th August 24. Following the issuance of audit report, CAP instructed junior team member Mr. Y to assemble the final audit file and prepare the completion memorandum. First is explain the meaning and significance of a completion memorandum. So this is again a knowledge and comprehension based question. And the second part is team member Y completed the assembly of final audit file in March 25 and handed it over to CAP. Was team member Y correct in his approach? And this is application and analysis based question.
Yeah. So what is the meaning and significance of completion memorandum? You need to directly answer the meaning and significance of completion memorandum. What is completion memorandum? Can any one of you tell? Yeah. Anyone would like to tell? Okay. So what is completion memorandum? Auditor may consider it helpful. We can directly refer the answer itself. Yeah. Here you can see the controls, meaning and significance of completion memorandum. It is a simple knowledge-based question, right? What is the significance of completion memorandum? That it describes the significant matters identified during the audit and how they were addressed. And what is the significance that is also being discussed in the same, that such a summary may facilitate effective and efficient review and inspection of the audit documentation, particularly for large and complex audit, right? So it facilitates effective and efficient review and inspection of the audit documentation, and specifically for large and complex. Second is preparation of such a summary assist. It assists auditors' consideration of significant matters. Okay. So first was efficient review and inspection of audit documentation. Second was assist auditors' consideration on the significant matters. Third is it help the auditor to consider whether there is any individual relevant essay objective that auditor cannot achieve. So all these are discussed in completion memorandum. Now what is being asked in the question? It is second part is application based, right? What is application based part is in the situation Nissan Limited's auditor, what he has done, audit report was issued on August 2024, right? And CAP instructed junior team member to assemble the final audit file and prepare the completion memorandum. Now, what is team member Y is doing? He is doing the assembly of the final audit file in March 25 and handed it over to CAP. And whether team member Y is correct, now you need to see what is the requirement of SQC1 and SA 230, right? Assembly of final audit file cannot be done in March 25 because it should be completed in 60 days duration, right? So if the audit is completed in the month of August itself, August 2024, and we need to have consider 60 days. So whether March 25 is approved is okay? No. So we need to write the provision regarding the same, and then we need to conclude that yes, no, in the given situation, team member Y is not correct in his approach, right? So we need to give conclusion as well as provision for the same. You see in the question, in the answer, what we have given as per SQC1, the requirement that auditor shall assemble the audit documentation and audit file and complete the administrative process of assembling the final audit file on a timely basis after the date of auditor's report. And what is appropriate time limit is? It should not be more than 60 days after the date of the auditor's report. Okay. And in the given situation, what is being done? August 2024 audit report was issued. P instructed Y to assemble final audit file. However, Y completed the assembly of the final audit file in the month of March. That is more than 60 days is non-compliance of SQC1. Thus, the approach of team member Y is not correct. So you need to give conclusion, because if it is of 2 marks, we can see 1 mark for this provision and 1 mark for this conclusion. So if you are writing the provision, but you are not writing the conclusion, you are losing 1 mark, right? So you need to be very much careful that you are not losing marks just because the question is asking you about the conclusion, but of course you need to write the provision as well as conclusion. Okay, so you need to interlink and accordingly you should conclude further. So of course this question is for 2 marks, but then you need to write in depth. Okay, and I think we have covered some MCQs, some descriptive questions also, right? And for 4 marks, length of the, like if we take one knowledge based question, so you can see this first question. Mention any 3 standards issued under authority of ICAI Council, which are collectively known as engagement standards, right? This question is for 3 marks. Now you need to, in this question, if you focus, if you see, it's specifically asking you about 3 standards. Okay, so you can write 3 standards. Following standards issued under authority of ICAI Council are collectively known. Though it is of 4 types, but if you are writing any of the 3, it will be okay. But if in the question any 3 is not being written, and the question is for 3 marks, and we are specifically asking you about mention the standards issued under authority of ICAI Council, which are collectively known as engagement standard, and still question is of 3 marks. अभी भी आपको 3 मार्क के लिए, लेकिन आपको any 3 वर्ड हटा दिया और ये पूछ लिया मेंशन स्टैंडर्ड्स, तो आप 3 नहीं लिखोगे, उस केस में आपको चारों स्टैंडर्ड्स लिखने होंगे। ठीक है, क्लियर है? अगर आपको क्वेश्चन में एनी 3 पूछ लिया स्पेसिफिकली, तो आप एनी 3 लिखोगे, इट विल सर्व द पर्पस. But if it is not specifically asked, then for 3 marks you need to write all the standards name, though it is of 3 marks question. Further, for 2 marks it is being asked the mention the purpose of issuance of these standards. Of course, it is very small, but since 2 marks are allocated, you need to give this much length, because it's given in the study material that purpose of issuance of these standards is to establish high quality standards. One is high quality standard, second is guidance in the area of financial statements audit and other type of assurance services. So one is to establish high quality standard, and second is to guide in the area of audit or assurance, right? So this way you need to cover your answers. Okay. Yeah. So this is all I think we have covered, and we have discussed the paper strategy also, and the topics which are having weightage, important weightage also. So my humble request is don't ignore any of the topic, right? Like chapter 5 is lengthy, but it is very, very important if because it's having highest weightage, right? So you should not ignore, you should not do selective study, because selective study, or if you are running behind shortcut, definitely your journey will be longer, right? So rather than running behind the shortcut study, or right, you need to have in-depth knowledge, because these chapters will also be applicable for your CA final exam also. So my dear future professionals, when you are studying these standards on auditing, in-depth knowledge and conceptual clarity is very, very essential and important, because auditing is backbone of the profession. And when you are through with these standards, you will be prepared for final exam also, because you will not get so much of time that you are studying these same with so much of time, right? Because at final level, syllabus is also vast. So definitely one important thing, have in-depth knowledge, read carefully, revise it at least twice or thrice, attempt at least 2 to 3 mock test paper, evaluate and analyze. If you find any area where you need to focus or improve, you need to work on the same. And still, if you are finding any difficulty, we are there to handhold. You can definitely reach out to us. Our number is 0120 3045 925. You can also use BOS mobile app, ask your query feature. With the help of that, you can definitely write to us and we will be very much happy to guide you and help you for the same. Don't forget that still we are having 16 days. Out of 16 days, we need to have 2 to 3 days for revision. For remaining days, we need to study. Still we can cover, we are aware of the weightage. If we study for at least 3 hours in a day, just like other subject, we are we will be through with the same. But whatever we are studying today, it should be revised tomorrow and day after tomorrow also, so that we are able to recall the provisions, we are able to recall the standards when we are writing in the examination, and we are able to revise the same in 1.5 days duration of time also. So time is indicating us to wind up. With this, I wish you all the very best to you for your patience. Thank you for your patience listening. I hope the session will be useful to you all and you will be able to implement the strategy which we have discussed in the session in your main examination. With this, wish you all the very best, and mentor for the session, I am CA Karuna Bhansali.
And I'm C. Ankita Yadav.
All the best. Session over. Tech team, tech support. Yes.